Old Roy Goes to College Part 2. Me and McDougall are going to learn a little bit more about Aboriginal culture and history at a local museum. McDougall's going to give us the inside scoop. She's going to explain to us the ways of the world in which I never knew. Come on, check it out. It's going to be great.
This is my first time being at the Ontario Archoogoly. Who am I saying it as? McDougall. McDougall here reporting. McDougall here reporting from the Archoogoly. Here I am in front of the work lab at the McDougall here in front of the work lab at the Museum of Archaeology in Ontario. And here is where you can kind of pretend to be an archaeologist for a day and try and recreate Ontario history. In this case, we're putting together what looks like pieces of pottery or some sort of artifact that by piecing the different pieces together, which we found while collecting them in the soil outside, we'll be able to reconstruct the history of our past, which is what I just learned recently what archaeology is the reconstruction of human history. Here is where you can actually pretend that you are outside looking for artifacts the same way that the archaeologists do. Today, I came across this wooden statue, which is probably Native Canadian. I also came across, oh man, I can't get it. Well, a dinosaur. And there's also pots in here, which are probably from early European settlers. Now, in order to preserve the artifacts, you need to use brushes and be very sensitive because these could be hundreds of years old, depending on the area. A log cabin, which you can expect to see from early settlers, despite the fact that there is no mortar or anything holding the wood together, actually has a really good structural integrity that can withstand the cold of the winter and also the heat and high winds of the summertime. So people were able to withstand the elements even in a primitive structural building such as this. If you look at the building behind me here, we have more made of like the bark of the tree, which provides increased insulation. However, it also increases the flammability of the building, which in Canada, as you know, is a big problem due to forest fires. What we have here is an accurate description in the form of a painting of the creation of a canoe, which would be scraped out from a log and actually like piece by piece scraped out in order to create a floatable and relatively sturdy form of travel along the river, possibly the St. Lawrence, up to Niagara Falls. Underneath the falls, the first ever Maid of the Mist was made from this. This is the type of structure you could expect to see when walking down the lanes about 100 years ago. It's been created solely from the bark of trees. Again, a very, very good form of insulation and protection from the external environment. Here we have a scene that represents early surveyors that from Europeans would come over and give a good general idea about the elevations and different features that are located within the newfound country Canada, specifically in Ontario. Without these type of documentations, the mapping and also just the documentation of what was here would not have been as accurately described and thus could not have been sent back to Europe, where it was analyzed and also documented from the founding times of our country.